Welcome to the Windows Computer and Technology channel and a recent premium article by Paul Thurrott was interesting read. So it has to do with the earnings of Microsoft and the details of what is what. Where is the money coming from? Cloud services, Office, Microsoft 365 subscriptions, Windows, and all of that, of course, and then there's a blurry line of, okay, does it come from a does it come from a you know consumers, from businesses, and where you draw the line and where you can get what these different um, you know sections of the Windows version, how much do they rack in? How much money do they make? And you can always kind of look at the numbers and try to kind of look at it and find out approximately. You can kind of try to figure out, but still, the question that is asked, and that is, I think, a very irrelevant question, is do consumers really count for Microsoft anymore? And this is interesting because there's a sentiment right now, and I see it on the channel here with all the comments, that people feel abandoned by Microsoft. Do you feel that they're being pushed to these things that they don't want, and that Microsoft doesn't care? And it is an overall feeling that it's pretty generalized. I think a lot of people feel that Microsoft isn't really interested anymore. Windows is still a big business. I mean, it's not what it was. It used to be the biggest business with Office many, many years ago. It's not anymore, but it's still a big business. The other question that is interesting, because we are going into, I mentioned this and we talked about this in some previous videos long time ago. The fact that it would seem that maybe Microsoft, do they understand where all of this is going? An example of that is, where is Windows numbers going? We had these numbers in Windows 10. Remember when they reached that 1.5 billion users? And of course, they do have stats. They do have telemetry that definitely tells them how much Windows machines are out there in every version. And if you've noticed, they've kept extremely quiet. And people have surfed on the 1.5 billion divided by a percentage of, market share for Windows. But the real question is there still 1.5 billion PCs out there? I think that number could be a lot less now. And there's a reason for that. I think Microsoft should realize that people are moving away slowly from computers, from PCs. They're going to a different form of computer, a tablet or a phone. And more, I see people that do not have computers. They have a phone, they have a tablet, that's perfect, and it does what they want. And there's two worlds in the consumer. There's the world of consumers that still need a PC, that still want a PC. And there's the world of consumers that now have moved on beyond the PC. And the more Microsoft will push people, people are like, oh, well, they're going to Linux, they're going to Mac. They're not. They're leaving the PC behind altogether. They're going to an iPad or a Android tablet, or they find out that their phone does what they want. And this is much more where the direction is going in the future. And I think Microsoft should realize that every little detail, every little thing they do that is kind of uninteresting to the average user, well, turns out that it becomes a simple one more person, one more customer moving away into something else. But it is it is interesting. Microsoft keeps very quiet. It doesn't give numbers of how much money they make on the consumer side. It doesn't talk about the number of PCs anymore. I think there's a reason for that. The lack of numbers of PCs, they just don't want to show that the PC market is maybe at a point where it isn't growing much and maybe even started to shrink. What do you guys think? If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe, give us thumbs up. Thank you for watching.